If we want to make an augmented fifth or a diminished fifth, we go through the exact same process we went through to make a perfect fifth. The only difference is in the half steps. A perfect fifth had 7 half steps, where a diminished fifth will have 6, and an augmented will have 8. So let's try a couple of examples right now. And let's start with an easy one. Let's make a diminished fifth starting on C, on middle C, right here. So I'm just going to write a D5 down here to remind myself that I'm going to make a diminished fifth. And I'm going to write the half steps down here too, 0 to 6, just to remind myself how many half steps I need. Okay, so the first question I have to answer is, how many letter names am I going to travel? Well, anytime we have a fifth, we always have to travel 5 letter names, or the interval of a fifth. So if I'm starting on the C right here, what is 5 letter names above the C? C1, D2, E3, F4, G5. A fifth above a C is going to be a G. So, am I done? Not quite yet. I need to count how many half steps do I have between the C and the G. And let's go down to the piano keyboard and try that right now. If I'm starting on a C, C is going to be 0, C sharp is going to be 1, D is going to be 2, D sharp is going to be 3, E is 4, F is 5, F sharp is 6, and D is 7. So I actually have 7 half steps right now, but what I need is 6 half steps. How am I going to make some kind of a C to some kind of a G into 6 half steps? Well, the easiest thing to do is to, I'm sorry, I wrote D there when I meant G. The easiest thing to do is to lower the G by 1 half step. And how do we do that? We put a flat in front of the G. What does that flat mean? The flat means lower the note by 1 half step. So if I'm on a G, the G flat is going to be this black key right here between the F and the G. So let's just count this up to double check our work here. So C0, C sharp 1, D2, D sharp 3, E4, F5, F sharp 6. Wait, so should the answer be F sharp maybe? Maybe an augmented fifth, or I'm sorry, a diminished fifth is C to F sharp. Well, what's wrong with that? Let's go back to our 2 questions. How many letter names have we traveled if we're going from C to F sharp? Well, C1, and remember, when we're counting letter names, we don't care whether it's an F sharp, an F natural, or an F flat. So C1, D2, E3, F4. C to F sharp is some kind of a fourth. So we need to make sure that we have, it does have 6 half steps. That is absolutely correct. But we want the version of 6 half steps that is written as a fifth. And notice this. We have 2 versions of 6 half steps here, right? Both C to D flat, I'm sorry, C to G flat and C to F sharp have 6 half steps. But they're written in 2 different ways. One is written as a fifth, C to G, and one is written as a fourth, C to F sharp. Again, the fifth referring to the number of letter names that we travel. The fourth referring to the number of letter names we travel. And this is something we have to constantly keep in mind when we're counting intervals and half steps. We're always thinking along these 2 dimensions of how many letter names am I moving and how many half steps separate those letter names, because those are now 2 independent variables and we have to keep track of them. Let's try one more diminished interval, and this one's going to be kind of interesting. Let's try a diminished interval, a diminished fifth starting on E flat. E flat. Okay, so again, step by step, let's go back to our two questions. I'm starting on an E. Again, we don't care if this is an E flat, an E sharp, or an E natural. The letter name is E. I'm starting on an E, and how many letter names do I need to travel to make a diminished fifth? Well, it's a fifth, so I need to travel 5. So E1, F2, G3, A4, B5. And that leaves me on a B natural. And let's just mark those out on the keyboard. Here is the E flat right here, starting note. Here is the B natural. Oops, sorry. Here is the B natural. Right here. So we need, for diminished fifth, how many half steps do we need? We need 6 half steps. But how many do we have? Let's count them up. E flat, 0. E natural, 1. F2, F sharp, 3. G4, G sharp, 5. A6, A sharp, 7. And B, 8. So we need 6 half steps, but we've got 8. Now remember, the rules of intervals tell us I can't move either of these note heads, right? This bottom note head must stay on the E line, and this top note head must stay on the B line, because we need some kind of an E and some kind of a B. Well, let's take this problem one bit at a time. We know, so here's our E flat, here's our B. We have 8 half steps. We know that we could pretty easily bring this down to 7 half steps by making this B into a B flat, right? But if I make the B into a B flat, now I have 7 half steps, right? So that's good. We like 7 half steps. That's a little bit closer, but that's still not 6 half steps. And notice if we count up from E flat 0, E flat 0, E1, F2, F sharp 3, G4, G sharp 5, A6. 6 half step lands us on A. So is that a diminished fifth? And it turns out it is not. And why not? Well, for the same reason that we've been seeing over and over again. We need to always come back to this question of how many letter names have we traveled? And in this interval right here, how many letter names have we traveled? We're traveling from some kind of an E to some kind of an A. E1, F2, G3, A4. So this is some kind of a fourth. This is not a fifth. So how are we going to write some kind of an E to some kind of a B as 6 half steps? And this is where I'm going to have to jog your memory to a few video series ago. Because remember, when we learned accidentals, we learned not only sharps and flats, but we learned another kind of accidental, or 2 kinds of accidentals, known as double sharps and double flats. And here is one of the places where we are going to use double flats. If I make this B into a B double flat, what am I doing? I'm bringing those 2 notes even closer together. So here's B flat right here. B double flat is right here. I'm going to write that B double flat. Now if I play B double flat on the piano keyboard, it looks just like an A. But because we want to maintain the integrity of this interval of a fifth, we're not going to write this as E flat to A. we're going to write this as E flat to B double flat. I'll give you a moment to let that sink in. But here's one of the places where double flats and double sharps can be useful. Now you may say, well, this is just ridiculous. This is just overcomplicating things. When we get into some later videos in the semester, when we talk about transposition, some other things, you'll actually start to see how this is, even though it's a little bit more complicated to get going on, this is actually going to simplify our life later on. Trust me on this. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at some augmented fifths, our last variety of fifth.